Yep. Good morning, everyone. So last session we learned about function generators, how to handle them. Actually, now we need to learn some more techniques. So, but to learn those techniques, you need to learn other relative topics also. Then we can handle them. As I told you yesterday, we have to learn about asynchronous, but asynchronous we can't directly learn. For that, we should know how to use promises. So, and promises we cannot directly learn. For that, we need to know how to use objects, methods, and how to work with classes and all. That's the reason all are related to each other. So we will see them one by one because related content we will discuss. So in functions, what are all the topics we learned is about function expression. We learned about function declaration, function parameters. We have rest parameters. We have spread syntax. We have function returns. Return. So we have function arrows. What is it? Function returns and arrow functions. Arrow functions, right? And function recursions. Recursion, right? Recursions. And function generators. Generator, function closure. Closure. All these are the part of functions. So we have some more techniques. We have asynchronous promise. Promise is a separate concept. But asynchronous, to create asynchronous, you need to know promise. To know the promise, you need some more things. We will see that. For that, actually, now you need to understand the concept of events, event listeners, methods, so properties, how to handle them. We need to know callback methods and all. These all topics we will see by understanding the concept of JavaScript OOP. We'll see JavaScript OOP. In this, you will learn promises and asynchronous things, how to handle events, event handling, all. First, we have to learn the concept of OOP, then we can manage that, right? Because once you know this, you will understand the clear difference between functions and methods, properties and variables, callbacks, how they are managed. So, first we will see these concepts, then we will discuss about that other promise and asynchronous things. Okay. So we are going to understand the concept of object-oriented programming. OOP is actually object-oriented programming. First thing is, first basic point you should know, JavaScript is not an OOP language. It is not an OOP language. So JavaScript supports only few features of OOP. It is not a complete OOP language. It supports only few features of OOP. So generally OOP language means there are a lot of features, but all are not there in JavaScript. So that is the reason you should know the limits of JavaScript, how it works. So what is this OOP features? What are the advantage of having these OOP features? And what are supported, what are not supported, we will see. So if anybody says is JavaScript is an OOP language, no, It is not an OOP language, but it supports some concepts of object-oriented programming, right? So let's see how this works. A basic idea I will give to history we will see basically. So first point is, so when we are developing applications for a real world environment, actually, so we have three types of programming systems. So various programming systems are used for software development. So various programming systems are used in software development. What are those? So we have different programming systems like POPS. We call it POPS. We have OBPS. We have OOPS. So different programming systems are present like POPS, OBPS, and OOP. What is difference is actually POPS means it is a process oriented programming system. Process oriented programming system. And what are the points about process oriented programming system is it supports process oriented programming system supports low level features. Low level features. What is advantage of supporting low level features is, so it can directly interact with hardware services. It can directly interact with hardware services. It supports low level features. It can directly interact with hardware services. So it uses less memory. And it is fast. It is faster. All these are the features of POPS, process oriented programming system. And example for this is C, Pascal like languages. This comes under the category of what? Programming, process oriented programming system. What are the drawbacks here is? Drawbacks is code reusability issues. Code reusability issues will be there. Code separation issues will be there. Separation issues will be there. Code extensibility issues will be there. Extensibility issues will be there. These are all the problems of code reusability, code separation, code extensibility. These are all the problems in POPS. Dynamic memory allocation. Dynamic memory allocation issues will be there. Allocation problems are there. You can say issues. Dynamic memory allocation issues will be there. So reusability concerns, separation concerns, extensibility concerns, and memory allocations. So these are all the problems in POPS, process oriented programming system. But they are good in certain places. That means they can directly interact with hardware. They are fast. They use less memory. These are all the advantages. That is POPS. We have OBPS. OBPS is actually object-based programming system. Object-based programming system. What is this object-based programming system is nothing but generally OBPS is object-based programming. Object-based programming system. So that means it provides reusability. It supports separation. So and extensibility. Separation and extensibility. So it supports dynamic memory allocation, supports dynamic memory allocations. All these are advantages. So these are all the key features of OBPS. Example for this is JavaScript. JavaScript and languages like VB. This comes under the category of what? OBPS. Object-based programming system. So they support low-level features? No. They have less memory when compared to POPS? No. Right? But what are the advantages is they have reusability and so extensibility. But some problems are there. What are the problems is OBPS is not having, it will not support code level security. You can say no code level security. Code level security will not be there. Code level security. And actually extensibility so means extensibility means no dynamic polymorphism. What is polymorphism? I will explain. So there is no dynamic polymorphism. So no code level security. So no templates are difficult. So and no contracts. There are no contracts. Actually, contracts, templates, in general terms, I will tell you, generally people call templates as abstract members. We call them as templates. Contracts means people call them as interfaces. These are not present in, these are the issues in object-based programming. So JavaScript supports some object-oriented programming features, but not everything. So a lot of issues are there, lot of drawbacks are there, right? So object-based programming system have code level security issues. They have no dynamic polymorphism, means extensibility also restricted, limited, and no templates, no contracts like concepts. So these are all the issues. What are templates? What are contracts? You will understand in OOP concept actually. These are not part of JavaScript. That is the problem with OBPS. What is OOP now? OOP is object-oriented programming system. What are the features here is, so it supports code reusability. So code extensibility, code separation, and code extensibility. So easy testability. So, and another important is code level security. So all these are the features. So that means it supports dynamic polymorphism. All these are, so it supports contracts. It provides templates and contracts. All these are present. These are all the concept of object-oriented programming. Example, you have like C++, you have like Java, you have like C#. These are all OOP languages, object-oriented programming languages. Then what are the drawbacks of this? What is the issue with OOP languages? What are the problems in OOP languages? What are the problems in OOP languages is one of the main problem with OOP language is will not support low level features. If it is not supporting low level features, it cannot directly interact with the hardware. It cannot directly interact with hardware services. So it uses more memory. It is slow in access. It is slow. These are all drawbacks of OOP. That is the reason we don't prefer OOP in every situation. OOP have their own problems. For example, suppose we have washing machine, refrigerator, microwave ovens, or air conditions. We control them with a software. That means in that a program is present. We use a remote or buttons, and through that we can control. Like we can control the rotation speed. You can control the temperature. So that means hardware devices can be controlled directly. Means you can control fan swing. You can control fan speed. That means they are ready to control hardware devices. Are they Java, .NET or C++ programs? No. They are embedded C programming. We use embedded systems. Embedded system means a simple C programming is used. By using that, we can interact. So for refrigerator, washing machines, they have a small chip integrated. We control that chip with remote or buttons through program. Now the point is, for such kind of devices, they don't have more memory. Java, .NET programs are not working. They don't have extensibilities and all. For example, you see, have you ever seen that refrigerator software updated or air condition software updated inside air condition, inside washing machine? No. At the time of building, what they kept till end, they will be same. You cannot extend them. You cannot modify them. So you can just use them. So they work on less memory. So you cannot say OOP is best language, because OOP languages will not be suitable in so many situations. If you want more features, more facilities, then you have to compromise with speed and certain problems. For example, you are using a mobile. You are using mobile with Android, iOS, which use OOP language. By using OOP language, that Android, iOS are built, object-oriented programming. There is a 1,000 rupees cell phone without any smart touch screens and all. You can operate that. And they use an operating system called Symbian. We use an operating system called Symbian. Symbian is an operating system. Here the point is nothing but generally what happens is you turn on the two phones, you will see that Symbian phone gets ready first, and your Android iOS takes time to load. Right? It will not stuck. It will continuously working smoothly, but your Android iOS slow in loading contents, opening. You are looking for features, then you have to compromise with the speed and all. Right? Memory, you need more memory. You need to compromise with speed. So the point is, object-oriented programming also have a lot of drawbacks. Right? So JavaScript is not object-oriented programming. So many options are not available in JavaScript. Generally, what OOP is having, limited. So what is missing in JavaScript when compared to OOP language? What is missing in JavaScript? Code level security is not there. Contracts will not be there. Templates will not be there. Dynamic polymorphism will not be there. All these are the issues of JavaScript problem. They are not there. So we can use up to certain points, right? Let's see. This is 3 types of programming systems which are very popular in software development: POPS, OBPS, and OOPS. Now, a simple small history I will tell you about evolution. Evolution is nothing but actually evolution of OOP languages of OOP is first in early 1967, a language came by name Simula. Simula. It is the first OOP language. It is the first OOP language actually. First OOP language was Simula. We call as simulation systems. Simula is the first OOP language. Actually, it was developed by Johan Ole and Christian Nygaard. These two people developed this language called Simula. And what is the main concept? The main concept is code reusability. Code reusability is the main concept. They introduced the concept of code reusability. That means how we can reuse the code without rewriting the code. They introduced the technique, which we will see now. We will learn, right? After that, what happened in 1970s? In the early 1970s, another language called Smalltalk came. Smalltalk. So it was developed by Frege. Frege developed it. And actually, it introduced a concept called code separation. Code separation was introduced by this Smalltalk. And actually, Frege introduced a framework called MVC. MVC, which is very popular now. In all technologies, we use this MVC, Model View Controller, right? And this is very popular now. Actually, Java uses MVC by name Spring. Java uses MVC by name Spring. PHP uses MVC by name. So by name Code Igniter. Code Igniter, Cake PHP, like this. Python uses MVC by name Django. So Django. .NET uses MVC by name. So .NET uses MVC by name. Actually, ASP.NET MVC. MVC. These are all MVC frameworks, and he developed them. Means he developed the concept of MVC. Every technology is using. So first it was Simula. Simula introduced which one? Simula introduced the code reusability. Code reusability. After that, code separation was developed by Frege. After that, what happened in the 1970s only? 1975 and all. So early 1975s, right? Here the languages which one? C++ became popular as OOP language. After that, in 1990s, Java made OOP concepts more popular. Java. After that, in 2003, C# made the OOP concepts more popular. So the most strong OOP languages in the market currently are these three: C++, Java, and C#. Right? These are the major OOP languages that are currently used across all over the world. The popular languages actually. So that is general evolution, a simple basic evolution of OOP, how the OOP languages came. Right? Now, how it works in JavaScript, we will see. JavaScript, how it uses the OOP features, object-oriented features. First thing you need to learn in JavaScript object features is, first you need to understand in the OOP concepts, modules in OOP. First, you need to understand the concept of module in OOP. So JavaScript OOP concepts, this is very, very major concept. You have to understand modules. So what is a module in JavaScript? Actually, JavaScript module is a set of functions and classes. A module is a set of functions and classes. So a set of functions and classes can be kept in a module. So what are classes? We will see that. A set of functions and classes you can keep in a module. What is the advantage of keeping in a module? What is advantage is, so modules are used to build a library for application. They are used to build a library for application, so that you can import and use the library. You can import and reuse the library. You can import and reuse the library from any location. So it enables reusability. The main concept of OOP is what? Reusability. That is the main concept of OOP. And to enable this reusability concept, one of the key feature is module. Module is one of the key feature used in JavaScript for handling the concept of reusability. You can achieve reusability in application by using modules. So by using modules, we can enable reusability. Reusability can be achieved by using this module system. Now, actually, how a module is defined, how it works, how we can reuse, I will show you. Generally, so configuring module, defining module, let's see how it works. But one more thing you should know. Module system will not work on every device. Module system will not work on every device. So you have to install a module system. You have to install a module system or use any browser. So which is using a module system. Generally, all browsers use module system. Old legacy browsers, they don't. Very old version, but these days those are not there. So you can say that every browser have a module system. Actually, you have to install a module system to use a module system. So there are different types of module systems. We have different types of module systems. Like we have a module system called Common JS. We have a module system called UMD. UMD is Universal Module Distribution. So you have a module system called AMD. AMD is asynchronous module distribution. So you have like a module system called ECMA. ECMA module system is there. These are all different types of module systems. Actually, ECMA module system is by default available in every browser. Every browser comes with ECMA module system. Latest browsers will come with that ECMA module systems, right? So in your computer, in order to work with modules, there must be a module system. Actually, JavaScript is used by so many technologies like Angular, React, Vue. All these people use JavaScript. And if they have to use any JavaScript library built in their project, they need a module system like CommonJS, UMD, AMD. If that module system is not installed and it is not configured, then that module concept will not work. So you remembered we installed Node.js. Node.js, when you installed for package manager and all, Node.js comes with a module system. Every browser have a module system. So you see, we have a project. You remembered in our project we installed this ESLint.json. Remembered? What is that ESLint.json? In the beginning, we installed this ESLint.json. What is it? What is it actually? What it is doing? Okay. What it is called as? It is called as language analysis tool. Lint. Lint means language analysis tool. Right? So in this file, you go to that file. You can see it will define the rules. It defines the rules, which JavaScript you are using. And see, source type. Source type is module. Now you go to package JSON. In package JSON, you can see this is the package JSON. In this package JSON, it will give information about so many. Here, you can mention which module system to use. But we are not building a project here. That's the reason it is not there. If there is a project configured, in that project, currently we haven't built a professional project. At the end, I will show you one example how to do. There we have to decide which module system to use. That means there will be an attribute, module, which module to use. So currently we are testing on browser, so you don't need to install any module system. By default, browser have a module. Otherwise, you have to set up the module system and configure here. We need to configure that. So every browser is having a module system. You will see that. Generally now, what happens is how this module is created and how it is used, we will see. Right? So these are all module systems available. Every library is given with that module system, UMD, AM. JavaScript related, any reusable library you created, it is given in the form of modules. Actually, suppose you are installing Bootstrap. How to use Bootstrap in any project? What you are doing, you are linking Bootstrap CSS file, JavaScript files, right? If anybody asked you a question like, without linking, so the JavaScript file, how to use the members of that file? You can import them and you can use them. If a module system is there, you don't need to link the JavaScript file. Without linking the JavaScript file, you can import a JavaScript file and you can use the members of that file. Why? Why you can do that? Because you should make a note that every JavaScript file Every JavaScript file is a module. Every JavaScript file that you create is considered as a module. It is considered as a module. Every JavaScript file is a module. All right. So how this will work, we will see now. One simple example we will see. So every JavaScript file is considered as a module. And in a module, what it contains? A module contains classes and functions. Let's see. That means variables, classes, functions, all these can be in a mod. That means every JavaScript file is a module, and every module comprises of variables. So we have functions and we have classes. Every module contains variables, functions, and classes. So let's see how to define that, how we can access, right? First thing, we will go to the project here. This is the project. Okay, in this project, you see now in our project, we have so many folders. We will add a separate folder called library. I'm adding a folder called library. In this library folder, I will add a separate folder called modules. Modules is the folder. That means in the library folder, there is a folder called modules. In that, add a new JavaScript file. In that modules folder, add a new JavaScript file. So let's add a new file, and I will give as home module. You can give any name. Roughly, I am giving home.module.js. Like this, I am giving home.module.js. It is present in modules. It's not necessary that you have to give the word module. Just for clarity, I am giving the name module, but extension is .js, right? So we are adding a module here. In this module, let's add some function. Suppose I am declaring a variable. So the variable contains MSG. So some username. Username variable contains some John. And we will create a function. So we will create a function. Some function name is some print name function. This print name function contains, it will take the username and print it. So I will put a simple message return what it should return, hello and username. This is the message it has to do. So print name is a function which is going to print this. So in a module, we have a function called print name. You can have any number of functions. For example, I have function addition. This addition function is taking A and B, and it is returning A plus B. We have some functions inside a module. And very important, so that is the first thing. So example is first, add a new folder into project. What is the folder name? By name what? So by name library. So add subfolder. So modules. Now add a new file. Into modules by name. We given the name as home.module.js. module.js, right? Now important here, after doing that, in this module, you are writing some variables and functions. That means you are defining some function. I'm writing like some function, some print name like this we are defining. We are writing some function. Now what you have to know is every member of module is in module scope and not accessible outside. Every member in module is in module scope and it is not accessible outside. So if you want any module member accessible outside the scope, then you have to mark it as export. You have to mark it as export. That means you have to write the function export function and the function name, print name. This is the correct way, right? So any function you created, you observe here now, this is the function. This print name and addition are not accessible outside. They are not accessible outside. They are accessible only in this. If you want to make them accessible outside, you have to mark it as export. Any function you want outside, you have to mark it as export. Now it is accessible outside. Otherwise, you cannot access the functions outside this module. You have to mark them as export. Okay. After marking as export, now one more doubt will come. Can we mark a variable as export? You can mark a variable as export, but not to export a value, to export any function. You can mark any variable as export, but not to export as value, to export as function. What does that mean? Means actually variables are not directly marked with export, right? Because they don't export. So variables are used within this module. You cannot access and use outside. But remember, I told you expression. Suppose there is a constant, in that constant, suppose constant. In constant, suppose we have like multiplication, constant multiplication is equal to, it is a function. Now this is a variable only now, but is it a variable? What do you call this as? We call it as function expression. Am I right? We call it as function expression. If it is a function expression, then how to export? How to export this function? To export this function, so you are writing some export constant multiplication. That means it is marked as exporting. But remember, you can do that only when it is a function. If it is having a value, variable have a value, you cannot do that. So variables can be exported only when they are used as reference for functions, not reference for values. You can do another way also. Instead of doing this, at the end of the module, we can say export multiplication. We can do that. For that, another situation is required, another setup environment is required. We will see that. Initially, this is also possible. Okay. Later we will see all the consequences. So first point, in a module, you can have a function or a variable or a class. And anything defined inside that module is not accessible outside module. You have to mark it as what? Export. And every function need not to export. Some functions we use internally, we don't use outside. Then we don't mark them as export, right? Now, once it is ready, now how to use this in our HTML page? How to use this in HTML page? So I am giving this example. And this is the example. And in this example, what we have? So we have the option, the name. Name is what? So this is home.module.js. In that, all this code we will keep. Okay, now how to use this in our HTML page? Generally, to use anything in HTML page, any JavaScript function, already we learned JavaScript can be from external files, right? So here we return in an external file. We will go to public and I will add a new file. Say module demo.html. Here I want to use those functions. Then what we have to do? Suppose I have a paragraph. We want to use those functions. Generally, if you return JavaScript code in any separate JavaScript file and you want to access, what you have to do? You have to link that file. Then only you can use it. But now we don't need to link. We just write a script. And at this time, another important thing you should know is you written a script. Now what happens is this script type is module. It is not JavaScript type. It is what type? Module. The script type is module type. When the script type is module type, right? When it is module, right? The script type is module type. When it is module type, now what happens is simple. When it is module type, here we have to import in the block. You have to mention what to import, from where to import, the function name. So function name, do I need to import all functions? Not required. You import only the function that you need for that requirement. This is called modular. That means if anybody asks what is the meaning of modular in any library, modular library means it will provide all facilities, but we will import only what we need for that situation. Right? Actually, if you are not using a modular library, then it is called legacy. Previously, what we were doing, legacy. In a JavaScript file, you are writing 10 functions and you are importing entire JavaScript file, but you are using only 2 functions inside it. Then why you are importing, linking entire file? That means you are linking entire file, but you are using only 2 functions. Then why you are linking entire file? It is burden for application. So modular approach means it will load only what is needed for your application. It will not load everything now. So in that 2 functions are there. Which function I want? Suppose print name function. Import print name from which module? Module location. It is in .. It is in what? Library. In that what? Modules. In modules, home.module.js. That is that file. Remember, you are not linking the file here. You are importing from a file. And we are not importing everything. We are importing only one print name. Now, this print name is returning a string which we want to store display in paragraph. Simple now. We just use document dot query selector. So paragraph dot inner HTML. In that we just print name. Print name is a function. We import the function by its name and we can use it. Now let's run this and see. It is going to print the detail and display them. It is working. Now observe carefully what will be the issues here. It is working here, but what you need to notice is in the console it is fine. Suppose I am not giving type as module because default type is script, type JavaScript. You see, it will not work. It says cannot use import statement outside a module. It thinks it is a normal script. It's not module. To make it as a module, it's important to define the type as module. And if you don't import this function, then you cannot use that function. Print name is not defined. Print name is defined, then you can use it. And you can import multiple functions now. Do one thing, print name. Another point, if in that library, in the module here, library modules in this, if it is not mentioned as export, print name is not mentioned as export, you cannot use. It is simply saying that it is not providing any export by name print name. It is compulsory. You have to mark it as what? Export. Now it is okay. It's working fine. So you can import multiple functions. For example, I want to import. So I want to import here another one. So comma, we can say addition. So you are importing two functions and you will print here. So I will put a BR in the next line. So addition is equal to, so what is the value? Addition takes two parameters, 20, 32. And it is going to print that. Right? It is going to access and it is going to use. So we are reusing. We are not rewriting. And another important, we can import anywhere now. Do I need to link the files? You don't need to link the files, multiple files. For example, you see, I will add another one. I will add here a simple another module called new file called products.module.js. In that products module, I am defining export function called get products. This get products function is returning an array of products. So name is TV. So price is some price. Price is some price. Like this we are defining. So we have like name as some mobile and price, some price we are defining. So we are defining some price here. Now important now is this is the data returned by that function. How to use the data returned by that function? So now what I am doing here in that home module, in this module, now I want to access that products module also. Suppose I am creating some ordered list, right? So ordered list, but here I am writing. So we have to import another function. What is that? So we need to import. Is it in present in same file? No. Another file na? Then we have to import another statement. Import get products from which location? So library modules, in modules products.module.js. We have to import that module. Now I am using, suppose I am using get products is a method, .map I am using. I am using a map. Map uses a callback function. Using a callback function. In this callback function, we are reading every product. And what we are doing is every product we will create here document var li is equal to document dot what? Create element li dot inner html li dot inner html is equal to what it is? Product. Then document dot what? Query selector. So ordered list. Into that we are using append child. Which one? List item. We are adding that list item, append child. That means here it displays. And in that what we need? Actually, product is an object. We need only product name. And you can see it will get that in display. So we are accessing and displaying. This is doing from another library. That means we are importing the functions from a module and we are using the functions from module. What is advantage? In any page same now. In any page you want to use it. So you just import that module and the function and use. What is the main concept about module system is, so what happens? This is export. After that, next point what we have to do is sixth. So you have to create a new HTML file, HTML page and import the functions. I'm just giving a syntax, right? So we are using import and some function name and from and the path. You have to define that, like just syntax I am giving. Now how you implement? Example is this. This is the example. This is the example. In this one more file we are adding. So let me give you that file. This is home module.js. Another one, products.module.js. And products module is going to return the products. It is going to return the products. This is the products module having. It is having a function which is returning some data. We are collecting the data and we are using the data here. That is the mechanism of module. How you can configure a module, how you can import and how you can use. So this is the basic process. Now one more important is every module can have one default export. One default export. Generally, what is difference between normal and default export? Normal export refers to a function which is loaded when requested and which is destroyed after it is finished. This mechanism is called as lazy loading. Lazy loading means it will load only when it is requested. We have another concept called eager loading. Eager loading means a function loads. So even before you request it. That means automatically a function loads and get ready. So that means you will call it. But remember, after importing, the function is not called. After importing, the function is called when you invoke it. We are importing the function, we are invoking the function. Then when you invoke, it is loaded into memory. But some functions are not like that. They are immediately loaded into memory after importing. So that means, so here, default functions, default function is loaded into memory automatically after loading, after importing. So non-default function. So non-default function is loaded into memory only when requested. How we have to do that? Just we have to write export default and function name. Now how to import it? It's very different now. We have import. Now directly name and from and the path. Remember, we don't have a curly brace. So now, so import like this you return. So from path, this is invalid. This is invalid because default function will not use curly brace. That is one important point. Another important point is every module can have only one default. Can have only one default member. Just like we learned REST parameters now. Only one parameter can be there. Similarly here, only one default member can be there. So because all members cannot be default. That means all functions cannot be loaded automatically. Only one function can be loaded. So you can mark it as, suppose I am marking this edition as default. If you mark as default in the import, now we have a problem. You cannot write like this. So if you write like that, it will be an error. Right? So why? Because it is default edition. Default means you have to make it like this. So you have to make it, so edition like this we have to do. But another rule is default members are imported first, then non-default. So that means always it must be imported first. Means you have to write like this. What is it? So what is it? Edition, comma, this is non-default. Right? Now edition is working fine. So you need to define that. So every module can have only one default member, and default member must be the first member. Must be the first member to import. That is important. And it doesn't use any curly brace. Why? What is the meaning of curly brace? It defines when to start, when to stop. Right? And without writing a curly brace, we are telling that we will not tell when to start and stop because it doesn't require, it will start automatically. If you put a curly brace, it will not work at all. It will not work. So that is important. So every function can have, every module can have one default. There cannot be multiple defaults. For example, suppose in the home, this function is also default. Print name is also default. Then it is again error. Duplicate. Right? So duplicate of default. Any one can be default. So we will keep the default. If any one is default, another should be non-default. So that is how we import the members and use the members, right? This is technically the module system of your application. So example same. Here I will give a different one. This is home.module.js. In home.module.js, this is the code. And in this, we are configuring one default. And example importing is nothing but some index.html, suppose some page. And this is the page. Because how to import also matters. How we are importing also matters into that. This is the concept of module system. Now in module, what are the members we use? In a module, we use two members, variables and functions. Right? For example, suppose I am declaring here. So variable, username. I will say export var username. Right? And here I am trying to use here. So another one, suppose order list is fine. This is map. Okay. Here I am just giving here in the next line as name is equal to, what is it? Username. That is the variable. We are having username. Username is a variable. And you see there is no username. Username is not defined here. Username is there, but it is not available here. Suppose we are not importing. Suppose you see now, I am importing here. From here, I am importing username. So that is also marked as export. It's still not possible. Does not provide an export named username. Already we marked as export now. Right? But it is not possible. Right? Only when functions are defined, we can access and we can use. Now, in a class, we created, in a module, we created only functions. But in reality, the classes are used for building modules. We have functions and we have classes. Now, in object-oriented programming, we need to understand what is a class. What is a class, how to define the members in the class and how to use them. That we'll see next session, right? So this is the module system. First you try, because sometimes you face issues in this. Because first time when you are learning module systems, some issues will come. Let's check. Right? Once you are good with this, now we will go into classes. Now you can understand asynchronous promises like things, because first you should know module systems, how they work. What is modular? Modular means everything is not imported or injected into application. Only what is necessary is imported. Later, when you are learning future technologies, React, Angular, like things, everywhere, this is how they use library. They use this module system as library system. That's JavaScript based all technologies will work like this, right? That's the reason you need to know. Now in this, how a module can have classes, class members, everything we will see. Tomorrow we'll do that. Tomorrow we will discuss about classes, right? Once we do all this, then we will go into promises and asynchronous, how to handle them. Okay. Tomorrow we'll continue then.